What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Welcome to NFL Week 10 Picks, your guys' favorite series on the channel. You guys love these. And I'm actually joined by a special guest. We will have a guest picker this week. He needs no intro, but I'll give him one anyway. JT Sports. Dude is an absolute animal when it comes to uploading videos. He uploads like just a ton of videos. I promise you guys will not regret subscribing to him. His link is in the description. Make sure to check him out. JT, how are you doing today?
Good, man. How about you?
I'm doing all right. Bears lost last week. If you mind telling everyone, I already know this answer, but who is your favorite team?
The Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay, yes. Steelers fans have been yelling at me the entire year whenever I pick against them, and then they win, and then I get to hear them talk and everything. So I know you're happy about them being 8-0. Overall on the season, we are 87-46-1. Went 10-4 last year. I know you make picks every game. Do you know your overall record?
I think I don't really remember my record last year. I know I was over 60%.
Okay. Yeah, my percentage is like 65 something or whatever. But he will give us his picks for the week, and I will also be giving mine. So our first game on the week is the Indianapolis Colts traveling to Tennessee on Thursday night for a matchup that has some playoff implications, some big playoff implications. Indianapolis is a game back of Tennessee for the division, I believe. JT, who do you have in this one?
I have the Titans winning this game. I took the Titans to win. I just did that video not too long ago before I hopped on here with you. I chose Tennessee to win because I think that Tennessee is going to be able to control the game. They're going to have the time possession advantage in their favor because Indianapolis, they're not good in the red zone. They're 24th in red zone scoring percentage, and they have one of the worst third down offenses in the NFL. And Tennessee has the worst third down defense in the NFL, but I don't think the Colts offense is good enough to take advantage of it. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Titans to get that one.
Okay, I agree with you. I will also be taking the Tennessee Titans. They're really going to be able to control that clock with Derrick Henry. Bears pretty much shut him down last week, but it doesn't matter when A.J. Brown is galloping for 30 yards every catch. He's been a monster for my fantasy team. 7-2, by the way, for the people who are curious. But I'm going to take Tennessee also to win this game. Indianapolis, their defense is really good, but I just think Tennessee, I like their chances at home and being able to control the clock, which is what they did all throughout the playoffs last year. Next matchup is the Texans going on the road to face Cleveland. Who do you have there?
I'll take Cleveland there. Once again, you got another team in the Texans that pretty much is lackluster defensively. They struggle to stop the run all year. They have one of the worst run defenses, if not the worst run defense in the NFL. I think it's either them or the Green Bay Packers. And I think the Browns, them being a running team, they might have Nick Chubb back for this game. We don't know. But either way, if Kareem Hunt gets the full go, the Browns should be able to win this game. This should be a game that Baker Mayfield continues to have a pretty solid standing. He's been pretty good over the last couple of weeks or so. So I think that the Browns should be able to take care of Houston. I think the game may be a little bit closer than what a lot of people may expect it to be, but I think the Browns should be able to get the victory there.
All right. So you mentioned Green Bay. They are actually last in rush defense, and I think Detroit is second to last or something like that. Nick Chubb is supposed to be back for this game. I still don't know if he actually is going to be back. But I agree with this one as well. I do think Cleveland will end up coming away with a win. I think they could have anyone running the football, and the Texans wouldn't be able to stop it. They're taking for a high draft pick. Wait, they don't have their first-round pick because Bill O'Brien is an absolute idiot. Next matchup is the football team going on the road to Detroit. Who do you have there?
This is a doozy, man. Oh, man, this is a tough one, man. I'm gonna take Washington. I don't really trust Detroit, even though Detroit is pretty okay against bad teams. But I think Ron Rivera should be able to outcoach Detroit some way, somehow. Even though I don't really trust Washington's offense, but I'll take Washington. I'll just take Washington because Ron Rivera should be able to outcoach Matt Patricia.
All right, I'm taking Detroit at home. They're fighting for their playoff lives. They need every single win, and they've looked pretty good against bad teams. Washington's pass defense is iffy. Don't really know about them. I know that their defensive line is good, but I'm not really sure about their pass defense. I am going to take Detroit at home. I like their chances. They've been really getting it done against lackluster teams, so I'm going to take the Lions. Next matchup is Tampa Bay going to Carolina to play the Panthers. Who do you have there?
Tampa Bay, I think Tampa Bay bounces back. Carolina's defense is average. I think Tampa Bay should be able to take advantage of that. I think the last time they played, Tampa Bay won as well. So I think Tampa Bay goes ahead, they sweep the season series from Carolina, and they get back in the win column.
All right. I am going to take an upset on this game. I'm taking the Carolina Panthers. They have Christian McCaffrey back. I think he's going to do really well in this game. And the Bucs looked terrible against the Saints. Just awful. They could not do anything offensively or defensively. They just got crushed into bits. I think they're going to be in a bad place mentally. I don't really know what's going on there. Brady threw 3 picks, I think.
That's one bad game though, and plus Christian McCaffrey, he's not going to be able to play that game. He has he has some kind of injury. I think it was like a shoulder injury that he suffered that is going to keep him out of action this Sunday.
Oh, really?
But I mean, my thing with the Buccaneers is that because you lose to a team twice in one season doesn't mean you're a bad team. Like I remember when I was playing high school football, my junior year, my 11th grade year, we played this school in Salt Lake City in Florida. And we beat them twice. And even though we beat them twice, this was still one of the best teams in the area. Like they were always making it to the playoffs. They always had a good record. They just couldn't get past my high school football team that I played on. So you can lose to a team twice. That doesn't mean like you're just falling apart. Like sometimes a team just has your numbers. So Tampa Bay is still one of the best teams in the NFC, in my opinion. They just can't beat the Saints.
No, I get what you're saying though, but they got killed in that game. Like it wasn't even close. That was embarrassing. There has to be some red flags just flying all over the place because that was embarrassing. That was just downright embarrassing. I think even without Christian McCaffrey, I think they could still win. Mike Davis has still been doing really well for Carolina. I had this thing where like I hate picking against a home team. That's part of why I'm going with Carolina in this game, but
it's a lot of red flags for the Saints. Aside from they played their best games of the season against Tampa Bay. They almost lost to Chicago in OT. They almost lost to Carolina by 3 points. They nearly lost to Justin Herbert on Monday Night Football by 3 points, and they they lost to Green Bay. They lost to the Las Vegas Raiders. So, I mean, you can make the argument and say that they played their best games against Tampa Bay. So, I mean, I don't really know how I feel about the Saints. I feel like the Saints just play good against Tampa Bay, and I think they just do enough to get by and get the victories. So, I mean, I understand where you're coming from. I just don't think Tampa Bay is that bad of a team. Like before they played the New Orleans Saints. Remember, this is the same team that crushed and destroyed the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah. As for the Panthers, they were if Joey Sly hits a 67-yard field goal, which I still don't know why they did that. That would have broke the NFL record by 3 yards. They were a field goal away from beating the Chiefs. I think that game, is going to give Carolina confidence going into this one. I was like, hey, we hung with the second, I know that makes you happy, best team in the NFL. So I think they're going to be, I like the positive momentum that Carolina has going. Even though they lost, they got to have a mindset going, we can do this, and we need this win. I'm going to believe in them, and I think they get it done. But the next game we have is in the NFC East. We have the Eagles going on the road to face the Giants. Who do you have there?
I'm going to take the Giants, man. The Giants came really close to getting the victory against the Eagles the last time they played. If it wasn't for, Daniel Jones being Daniel Jones, Giants would have won that game. But Daniel Jones had one of the first games in a long time that I ever watched last week against Washington that he didn't turn the football over at all, had no turnovers. He played a clean game. And it's funny because the Giants lose almost every single game they play by at least like one possession. It's like really close. The only reason why the Giants aren't winning those close possession games is because of Daniel Jones. If Daniel Jones can play a complete game without turning the football over, the Giants should be able to win. And I think the Giants are going to be able to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. And I think they surprised a lot of people and they tied for first place in the division.
All right. You mentioned a team having a team's number. Daniel Jones is 4-0 against the football team career, and he's 1-16 against everyone else, which I think is just a great stat.
I don't really think you can.
No, I'm not saying that. That's not a reason why I'm pick. That's not a reason why I'm picking the Eagles, which I am picking the Eagles. But I was just mentioning that.
Yeah, like here's my thing with that. I understand he's 1-16 against everybody else, but the teams around him haven't really been all that. The team around him hasn't really been all that great. But when you look at the Giants, I mean, you were talking about the Carolina Panthers, how they came close to beating the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, the Giants have been in almost every single game that they played in. Like their most lopsided loss was to the 49ers. So, I mean, the Giants are a really competitive team. I think that they could pull off that. I think they could pull off the upset. And you know me, I love watching chaos, though.
All right, so Miles Sanders is questionable to return back to the lineup this game. The Eagles are slowly returning their battered team back to form because against the Giants, didn't they? They had Sanders was out. They had like every wide receiver's back. Jalen Reagor played his first game against Dallas on Sunday Night Football. He looked really well. This is not the same Eagles team that they played against the Giants. They're slowly coming back to form, and I don't trust Daniel Jones in any game at all. I just can't. My friends who are Giants fans, they like to get mad at me when I tell them Trubisky is better than Daniel Jones, which is kind of true, kind of not. I kind of just say it to irritate them sometimes. No, I sort of just say it to irritate them, but like you can sort of make an argument for it, but I'm not gonna.
Quincy, I don't know what you're smoking over there, Quincy, but I want a little bit of what you hitting over there, Quincy, because that you sound crazy. Pass that thing to the screen real quick, Quincy.
Indiana is number one in the country for the best meth labs in America. I will say that.
I can't believe you just said that. Daniel Jones is nowhere close to the abomination that is Mr. Trubisky. Mr. Trubisky can't read defenses. He doesn't have an arm. He can't throw the football downfield. I mean, the dude misses wide open wide receivers. I mean, the thing with Daniel Jones is just that Daniel Jones is in his second year. That's what a lot of people have to understand. And Mel Kiper was just saying this morning on Get Up. Like, I remember when we actually used to give quarterbacks time to develop instead of giving a guy 2 years and then just don't decide. Listen, I don't trust Daniel Jones neither.
Well, it's Trubisky's second year last year, and everyone was saying the same things we're saying about Daniel Jones. So it's not like
but I've seen Mr. Trubisky Mr. Trubisky had his chance. Like with Daniel Jones, I may not trust Daniel Jones, but I don't trust Philadelphia neither because Philadelphia hasn't really played all that great. And even if they do get back healthy, I still don't trust them. This is still a sloppy football team. So for me, I think the Giants will have the upset.
All right.
Daniel Jones may turn the football over, but Philadelphia, even with Miles Sanders back, they haven't been the best in the ball security department neither.
I'll tell you, Jalen Reagor coming to the lineup really helped them against Dallas because Travis Fulgham is just a one-man wrecking crew. Start him if you have him in fantasy. Every week, he's a monster. But our next game is the Jacksonville Jaguars coming up north to Green Bay and Lambeau Field to face the Packers. Who do you have in this one?
I have the same thing you have, Quincy. I'm taking the Green Bay Packers. I think they destroy Jacksonville. I hope that James Robinson does enough that he can get me at least 15 fantasy points so he can help me win this week. But I think Green Bay squashes the Jaguars this week.
Well, James Robinson is the Packers have the worst rush defense in all of football. Dalvin Cook ran for, 250 yards and 4 touchdowns. He had 3 touchdowns rushing, and he had like a 50-yard halfback slip screen or whatever that play's called, like that play in Madden that everyone runs. I agree with you. I think Green Bay is going to absolutely just demolish them. But our next matchup is the Buffalo Bills, who scared me the previous 3 weeks, but then came out and dismantled the Seahawks by putting 44 up on them. We'll talk about the Seahawks later about how their pass defense is just abominable. I know you made a video about that. But who do you have between these two teams?
Who are the Buffalo Bills playing again?
The Cardinals.
Oh, the Cardinals. I didn't even know. Dang, how did I not know about this game? I'm going to take Buffalo. I kind of want to take Arizona because I believe that Buffalo's win is kind of emotional because, Josh Allen, he had the unfortunate death of his grandmother. Rest up to her. I'm still going to take Buffalo, even though I feel like there is opportunity for Arizona to pull off the victory in this game. I'm still going to side with Buffalo. With Arizona, they've been on a roll as of late, but they're still kind of inconsistent. And we saw that when they lost to the Miami Dolphins with a rookie quarterback. So give me Buffalo.
Okay, I know you can't see me, but I just put my Josh Allen jersey on. Absolutely love this guy. Loved him back when he was at Wyoming. Had a little bit of struggles in his first few years in the NFL. Was like, watch out, this guy, absolute stud. What a great emotional win he had for his grandmother last week. I should have picked Buffalo going back to last week. That was one that I really missed. They're riding high off a ton of momentum after beating the number 1 seed in the NFC. I love their passing attack, and I think they're going to get it done. Love my man Josh Allen. He is an absolute stud. Next game, we have the LA Chargers on the road facing the Dolphins. Who do you have there?
I want to take Miami. I think that the Chargers have a very good chance to win this game. If I had to rate the Chargers' chance to win this game 1 through 5, it would probably be on the 4. But I think Miami's defense may force a turnover or two, and that may decide the game because the Chargers are always playing in close games, and turnovers are a good way to lose close games like that. And the Chargers are just notoriously known for just blowing leads almost every single game. They're like the Atlanta Falcons. So give me the Miami Dolphins. They're running hot right now. They're in the middle of the playoff race as we speak. So give me the Dolphins.
All right, I agree with you. I'm also taking Miami. Tua played pretty good against the Cardinals. Their defense, though, man, they are creating turnovers like it's no one's business. Aren't they like number 1 in turnover differential? They're up there. I know they're up there.
I think they're somewhere in that department.
They're up there in turnover differential. Their defense is for real, and the Chargers, they can't close out a game. They just can't. The Chargers, the Lions, and the Falcons, you can't trust them when they have a lead. They just fold like a dollar store lawn chair. They just can't hold on to a lead, and I don't even think they'll even get the lead in this one. But our next game is the Denver Broncos traveling to the Death Star to face the Las Vegas Raiders. Who do you have in this one?
I'm going to take the Las Vegas Raiders. I think the Raiders are a really underrated team. Their defense is pretty solid. Their offense is clicking on all cylinders. I think that the Raiders should be able to win that game.
I agree. I do think they will be able to come in there and get a win. I mean, they're not come in there, stay in their house. You know what I mean. I do think they will end up getting a win in this one. Drew Lock, and man, I don't know about him. He's really off and on. I just don't know about him. So I am taking the Raiders. This is an interesting one for me. I'm excited for this next one. The Seattle Seahawks traveling on the road to SoFi Stadium to take on the Rams. Who do you have?
Yeah. This is tough, man. I'll take Seattle. I think Seattle bounces back. I have a hard time seeing Seattle lose 2 out of 4. With the Rams, Jared Goff is pretty on and off as well. When the run game isn't going, he's not going. And part of their offense is being able to run the football. And Seattle, even though Seattle's run defense is a little bit inflated because, nobody needs to run the football to beat Seattle when you can just beat them by throwing the football.
Like but the Bills never run the football. I had Devin Singletary in fantasy thinking he would do really well. And I was like, oh, this team doesn't run the ball. And so I traded him for scraps.
Yeah, but with the Rams, they're more of a team that has to run the football because they used to run game because they run the West Coast offense. In the West Coast, normally a team used to pass set up the run, or they used to run to set up the pass, and the Rams used to run to set up the pass. So I think Seattle's defense they're not going to hold, but I think that Seattle's defense should at least do enough to the fact that Seattle should be able to walk away with like a 3-point victory.
Okay.
So I'll take Seattle.
All right. I am going to take the Rams. I really underestimated this team's defense. When the Bears traveled down there, I was like, you know what? I don't really think this defense is as good as advertised. I think the Bears should be able to put up enough points to win. Boy, was I wrong. Didn't score an offensive touchdown. We'll get more to the Bears later. The Bears are going to wrap up this video because they're the last game on Monday night. So they'll wrap us up at the end. Well, I can talk for hours about the Bears. But this is about the Rams, not the Bears. I think that they can just throw the ball at will. Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods are going to be running wide open. I am starting Robert Woods. My 3 receivers, or my 2 and my flex are A.J. Brown, Fulgham, and Robert Woods. So, but I mean, they're just going to be galloping free. This pass defense is just terrible. And I think Aaron Donald is just going to be chasing Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson could be running around like a chicken with his head cut off. And Jalen Ramsey should do enough in the secondary with all of his buddies to get it done. I don't think Russell Wilson's going to have enough time to throw. Even though he can make his magic whenever he wants to, I just think the Rams are going to have the perfect storm on offensive defense. They win this one convincingly.
Here's why I don't trust the Rams, because they're just too on and off. Like, you got beat down by Miami, okay? Then before you lose to the Dolphins, okay, you get a big win Monday night against Chicago. But before that, before they beat the Bears on Monday night, remember that they lost a 49ers team that pretty much is in hospital mode right now. You go into the hospital, Quincy, the whole entire hospital is going to be rented out by the San Francisco 49ers organization.
If you got COVID, tough.
So, yeah, and Jimmy Garoppolo, here's my thing. He didn't do good against the 49ers secondary, which pretty much is everybody is out but one person, really. Jason Verrett is pretty much the only serviceable star they have right there. So if Jared Goff couldn't do well against that 49ers secondary, that pretty much everybody is out, everybody's injured, I can't really trust them to do the same thing against Seattle. Like, even though Seattle's secondary is Swiss cheese, I feel like there's going to be an opportunity that Seattle is going to be able to get a turnover. And Seattle is top 10 and being able to take the ball away from the opposing team. So even though their secondary is Swiss cheese, I don't trust Jared Goff enough to be able to take advantage of that. That's why I got to take Seattle to get the bounce back victory.
Do you know when Jamal Adams is coming back?
Jamal Adams, surprisingly enough, actually came back last week, but you wouldn't know that because Josh Allen threw for 400 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, I haven't been paying it. I'm not big with like injuries. Like, I don't hawk the injury list. Like, oh, this guy's out. Like, I just don't do that.
Yeah, Quincy, with Seattle, it doesn't really matter who plays or who does on defense because their defense gets carves up anyway. Like, for Seattle, you just hope that your defense can get one turnover because your offense is just so explosive. Like, as long as Russell Wilson doesn't turn the football over 4 times and that defense can at least pray to God that they can get 1 or 2 stops, I think Seattle will be in a position to win this game. I really think, though, that the Rams defense is going to show up big and win this one. But we're going to move on. I'm actually going to go first for this one because I want you to close on this game. The Bengals going on the road to face your Pittsburgh Steelers. I made a promise to everyone. I said if the Steelers beat the Ravens, I will not pick against them the entire year. So I'm taking the Steelers. JT, we know who you're picking, but go ahead. It depends, man, because Ben Roethlisberger, he just got diagnosed or he got put on the little CVID list. So he needs 5 tests to come back negative before Saturday. Tests?
Okay.
Yeah, you got to have 5 negative tests you got to test negative for 5 straight days in a row before you're able to come back. Oh, and we saw the similar thing happen to the Ravens last week. They had basically the whole entire defense was basically on the little CVID list because they had somebody close to Marlon Humphrey. So if Mason Rudolph has to start for Pittsburgh, I'm going to take Cincinnati because Mason Rudolph, I saw him a little bit in Dallas and I already almost wanted to vomit. So if he plays, I think it's going to be a long day for Steelers fans. Like, the defense is going to have to be the offense. I don't trust Mason Rudolph. If Big Ben plays, it should be business as usual. So I don't really know if I'm allowed to do this, but, it's a situational thing. So Big Ben plays, Pittsburgh's going to win. If Big Ben doesn't play, Pittsburgh's going to lose because Joe Burrow, eventually that offense should be able to find enough rhythm that they should be able to put some points on the board. Because I don't think the Steelers offense puts points up on the board without Big Ben. We already know that the Steelers offense has been hot and cold this year. So I don't trust Mason Rudolph. So Bengals win, the Big Ben doesn't play. Bengals lose, the Big Ben does play.
Well, we need a team. Who do you think's going to play?
Okay, so Big Ben plays. I say the Steelers win.
Okay. All right. I don't care who plays. I can't pick against the Steelers. I'm going to hold up to my promise that I made. But our next game is the my high school football team. I mean the San Francisco 49ers playing, going on the road to the Superdome to play the Saints. Who do you have there?
I'll take the 49ers with the upset. It's crazy. I know it sounds crazy. Do I really like the 49ers with the upset? Do I really? I'll take the 49ers to get the upset. The New Orleans Saints are riding hot right now. They just dismantled the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But I think that the 49ers still have a lot to play for. Like the 49ers, believe it or not, are still in the playoff hunt. They still have a chance to win that division. And I think that they could upset the New Orleans Saints. So give me the 49ers with the upset.
All right, I am taking the Saints. They are riding on just a steamroller of momentum. Huge emotional win against my Bears on that one game. Coming off a dominating win against the Saints. They're dancing in the locker room. They're doing all sorts of great stuff. I just don't see the 49ers being able to come back and stop them. Raheem Mostert might be back, but it seems unlikely. I lied. I do pay attention to injuries on my fantasy team. So I do. He'll be iffy for that game. I don't think he's going to play. JaMychal Hasty thought he was going to do really well against Green Bay because they can't stop the run. Gets one carry, so that was great. But they're just so injured, and when you're facing like a halfway decent team, I just don't see them pulling off any wins. And the Saints are not a halfway decent team. They're a great team, and they're jockeying for the number 1 seed in the NFC. I'm taking New Orleans. Next we have, I think this is the Sunday night game. Baltimore on the road facing New England. Who do you have there?
I'm going to say Baltimore because Baltimore, they get Marlon Humphrey back. They should be at 100%. New England played Baltimore last year. I never recall a season where Bill Belichick has lost to the same team 2 times in a row. But I just don't think that the Patriots have the necessary pieces and the necessary personnel on defense to stop the Ravens' offense, even though they may be able to pick out a couple of their plays. But I think the Ravens should be able to win that one. I think it may be a little bit close. I'll take the Ravens 20-14.
Okay, I agree. I'm taking the Ravens. Lamar Jackson tore up their defense last year, and their defense is nowhere near as good this year. Man, they almost lost to the Jets. They almost lost to the Jets. That's just, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pick New England in very many games to end the year. Good news for the Jets. They can't lose this week. They're on a bye. Other teams on a bye, I should have mentioned this at the start, are the Jets, Chiefs, Falcons, and Cowboys, 3 of the worst teams in the NFL, and the Chiefs. But New England is not the same team. I think that Baltimore will carve that defense apart, and their defense will hold their own. And the last game, I need a Bears jersey for this. I totally need a Bears jersey for this. We have the Bears and the Vikings on Monday Night Football. Does the curse for Kirk Cousins on Monday Night Football end? Who do you have?
I'm going to take the Chicago Bears to get the victory. I think the Vikings are being a little bit overrated. I mean, you only won 2 games in a row, really. You pull off the upset against Green Bay. Whoop-de-doo. Like, you're the Vikings. Like, everybody in the division should at least split 1 game with their team, no matter how bad, how good they are. Okay, then you beat the Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions are the Detroit Lions. Like, the Detroit Lions haven't beat a divisional opponent since 2018 when they beat the Packers twice. So I think that a lot of people are overrating the Minnesota Vikings just a little bit. Still don't trust Kirk Cousins. Still don't trust that defense. So I think this is a game that the Bears really shouldn't have to worry about doing that much offensively because the Minnesota Vikings, their offense pretty much is Dalvin Cook. So as long as you can contain and stop Dalvin Cook, you should be in pretty good shape. So I think the Bears get that victory there, and they end the Minnesota Vikings short momentum stretch.
Okay, I think the Bears will win. One thing that I do like about the Bears is they have not lost to a bad team yet. The teams they've lost to were the Colts, Titans, Rams, and Saints. Those are all playoff teams. Dalvin Cook, man, has he been leading my fantasy team? Holy, he just carried me to 2 straight wins in a row. In weeks where I really needed wins. So he's just been a great player. But that's like been their entire source of offense. And the Bears will do a great job at stopping the run. They were their front seven very good. I think they will be able to contain him. And their pass defense even better than their run defense. The problem, the big problem, is scoring points for themselves. It doesn't matter what defense they're playing; they just struggle so mightily to score points. They scored 3 points against the Titans. Whoopity doo! We scored 2 touchdowns when the game didn't matter and the game was already over. You want a cookie or something? They've scored what was it? They've scored like 3 offensive touchdowns in 3 weeks. I think that's true. No, 4 offensive touchdowns in 3 weeks. This is just not going to get it done. The Saints had 4 touchdowns and a half. Like, that's just not going to get it done. I could rant about the Bears for forever, but Kirk Cousins, he just can't win on Monday night. He just can't. That might be on the list of things that will never happen, or things that happen as often as Haley's Comet. He just can't do it. And I hate to say that because he went to MSU. Love MSU. About to get killed by Indiana this week. But I do think the Bears should be able to use their defense and come away with a win. I think that's the only way they can win games. But I'll tell you one thing right now. If this Bears team can sneak in as the 7th seed, which I do think they will.
Don't say it, Quincy. Please don't say they're a dangerous team, because they're absolutely not.
Give me a second. No, just let me finish. They end the season. They have Green Bay twice, Minnesota twice, the Lions, the Jaguars, and the Texans. Of those 7 games, you got to win at least 5 of them, and the 5 not named Green Bay should be winnable games. So they can win one against Green Bay. They will be dancing in the playoffs. We'll talk about Green Bay when we get there. Packer fans, I know you're scared. Not, but you should be. I think they can win a playoff game.
Oh.
I'm not saying they're making a deep run. I'm not saying that they're making the Super Bowl. I think they could win a game.
That's value, Quincy. Here's why. So if Chicago sneaks in at the 7th seed, which is most likely, there are going to be their 3 most likely opponents: New Orleans, Seattle, or you face Green Bay again. And I don't like Chicago's offense, even against Seattle's defense. I don't think Chicago's offense is that bad, in my opinion, that I don't even think they're good enough to exploit how bad Seattle's defense is. Like, Chicago just reminds me too much of the Steelers team from last year. Like, the only way Chicago
not that bad. Come on.
That offense is bad. Like, the only time I think Chicago has a chance to win is if that defense has +3 turnovers. They're +3 in the turnover margin, and their defense has like a defensive touchdown of their own to help out their offense. Like, that's how bad I think their offense is. Like, they may have a couple of games like Pittsburgh did last year when we barely managed to put up 20 points. But I mean, let's be honest, Quincy, you know, and I know doggone well that there's no way in hell that Chicago has a chance of beating Seattle, New Orleans, or Green Bay, especially if you have to play Green Bay
in overtime to the Saints. Don't tell me they don't have a chance to beat the Saints. Come on.
Overtime to the Saints. And you barely squeak past. You barely managed to get into overtime. So I mean, if you play the New Orleans Saints again, and the Saints, remind you that you played the Saints when they were without Michael Thomas, they were without Emmanuel Sanders.
Michael Thomas didn't really do that much against Tampa Bay. He only had like 5 catches for like 50 yards.
Well, you got to think, that was his first game that he played since week 1.
That's true.
And they didn't really need him to do much because they were on cruise control pretty much the whole entire game.
When it comes between Green Bay, Seattle, and New Orleans, I think we'd have the best chance against Seattle. because our receivers. Do I say this? Do I? Our receiving core is at least top 15 in the NFL. They can get it done. The receiving is probably like the receiving core is probably the best part about the offense. They're gonna score their points against Seattle's defense. I have no trust in. Have they? Hold on, I need to look at something. I need to do some research real quick. Has Seattle had a game where they've allowed like less than 30 points?
Actually, they have.
I need to find this out.
It was the Miami Dolphins.
Okay. I need to find their game by game schedule. Give me a minute. Oh my goodness, why can I not find it? Here we go. Or wait, no, that's not it. Anyway, I'm getting away from myself. I think they can definitely win the game. And God, all they need to do is win one game against Green Bay. I don't care. The Bears could be the year the Bears went like 3-13. This was the year they went like 6-10, right? They went 6-10. The Packers, they're riding high. They're on a playoff run. They're retiring Brett Favre's number at Lambeau Field. It's packed, over 100K or however many fans they have in there. The crowd's going crazy. Brett Favre's numbers getting retired. What do the Bears come in there? They shut down Green Bay. They win 17-13 and spoil that happy moment that Green Bay had. I don't care. The Bears can be the worst team in the NFL. They're going to come up and they're going to play their best game against Green Bay. That's 2 weeks from now, I think. Sunday Night Football, Bears-Packers. I think they can win that game, but that's 2 weeks. That's 2 weeks in front of anything. But those are all the games. Very long video. No one's even watching. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you check out JT's channel in the description. Make sure you subscribe to him. You will not regret it. I promise. He's really close to 10,000 subscribers. So let's help him get there. Show him some love in the description. But thank you for coming on, JT. Do you have any last words to say?
Thank you for having me on, man. I had a good time, man.
All right. That's going to be it. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and I'll see you next time.